Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is a video that I'm making after a very long time, and this in this series is going to be me. I'm going to talk a bit, as you must have seen by the title in the bottom, that I'm going to talk about some or four actually four specific things that I learned during my 1 year of my PhD. As you must have seen, if you are a person who visits the channel often, I started my PhD last year in June 2021, and it's almost been a year since I have finished. Since I've done, I've been in this PhD, and there are specific things that I did not know. Actually, there are a lot of things that I did not know before coming in. Although I tried to maximize the amount of information I could get from the people I talked to, from my peers, everyone that I knew, but still there were some things that I understood as I went through and I've written them down. I have a list of four specific things that I'm going to share with you today, which I learned. And I think so anyone and everyone should know once and before they start their PhD. And I think so this might, and this is something that might be the case. It might also help people who are not in their PhD, who are in their job, who might be just working a full-time job as a software engineer, as a maybe as a accountant, maybe as a manager, or anything of that sort. If you start out fresh, this is something I think so people have understood as they have gone through, and this is not something people know, or students who just come into or just will go into work know. This is something that you learn with discipline, with time, and you can actually understand and learn this. But this sort of gives you a picture of it beforehand. That's what the idea is of this. So without further ado, I will tell the first thing. The first thing is write things down. So what I mean by write things down is that you should be very, very disciplined with the approach of writing things down and sort of planning things out. So what I mean right by this is, for example, you're talking to someone and you have this, let's say, a billion-dollar thought, a thought that you think might be useful, might be worthful. Just write it down. Write it down somewhere on a piece of paper, something like that. Put it in your pocket. Just don't. So things like these tend to get forgotten, and this is where it's important to write this down, because if you forget about it, if you do not remember it, this is not something that might, it might shake up the economy, of course. But what will happen is that it might be a thing that you could have probably tried out, searched about, thought about, but you couldn't because you forgot about it. And this is where it's important for anyone to just write it down. Even if you look about it and you feel that's not useful, it's okay. You can cross it out. That's a good thing. But writing it out is important, and it helps you actually streamline your thought process, streamline your work, so that you have things right here. And I have this habit of writing things down and using it like a sticky note and putting it here on my system, on my laptop. So just as soon as I open it, I can see it. It's right there. I cross out things, I write things. I have a notepad also. I have a bunch of these writing tools, and I've seen people use it. People have actually been using it, but this is something that I couldn't when I started out, and I think so everyone and anyone should. I have a bunch of these things for my home. So if I want to bring something like for groceries or stuff like that, I write that down too on my fridge, on my refrigerator. I do all of these things. So the first thing is write things down. That's really important. The second thing, talk to people. Just talk to people about research. Now, there are times and situations in which you should be, very, you should not really get into it. If you're in a party and you're in a good party, and people are having a good time, they're talking about their lives, they're talking about things, they're talking about, things that might be problem to them, and they're discussing. That's not the best time to discuss your ideas or your research about them. But you have to genuinely want to know. You just have to genuinely have to go into and let people ask questions. And this is something that we become defensive about. Like, it's our research topic, and we become emotional about it. We do not let, like, hey, this is my research topic. I will not let anyone question it. That's not the goal. The goal is to make it foolproof. The goal is to make it so bulletproof that all of the thoughts, the ideas, or the questions that can be raised with respect to your research or around your work are answered, because it's going to be raised. It's something you as a person might not be able to think of all the scenarios that are going to happen. But yes, if you talk about this to people, and if you talk about things to people, talk about research, they might first of all give you different thoughts as to where else or what else might be useful. They might ask you questions. Second of all, they might ask you questions that might put you into the spot and say, "Oh, really? Okay, this might be a thing. Now let's see how this works out." So these are two important things that we need to, as research students, specifically as research students, I feel here, need to understand and learn that people might and will question your work, which is fine. It's okay. It allows you to think about it. So you should not be like defensive about it and think, "Oh no, this is wrong." No, no, no. You have to be able, you should be okay with taking criticism. Of course, that's what people say, but what it looks like is you should be allowed to question. That will, and you should be okay with it, so that you can learn from. That's the idea. Now, the first thing is more like you can do apply right now, but as I go forward, it's like something that you can inculcate in yourself or in your daily routine as you go about working, go about research, go about all of your work that you do.